There's a good chance you own one. A power drill, sitting in a garage, a closet, a toolbox somewhere in your house. You've picked it up 100 times without ever asking a strange question. Why does it feel like a gun? That's not an accident, and it's not a metaphor. In 1914, two broke Baltimore machinists pulled a Colt .45 pistol out of a drawer and used it to redesign the drill you own right now. Every cordless drill on every hardware store shelf on Earth still carries that decision. Stick around, because the real story isn't the one you've probably heard. It isn't two engineers with a master plan. It's two guys who almost failed first. Go back further. 1906. Samuel Duncan Black and Alonzo Decker are 23 years old, working side by side at a shaky telegraph company in Baltimore called Roland. Not engineers, either of them. Black was a draftsman. Decker never made it past the 7th grade. He was a toolmaker, self-taught, sharp with his hands. Roland was the kind of company you could feel wobbling under you. So, in September 1910, they jumped. Black sold his car. $600. Decker matched it. $1,200 total to start a machine shop. And here's the part the legend leaves out. They didn't set out to build power tools. For 4 years, Black & Decker survived making somebody else's inventions. Milk bottle capping machines, candy dipping equipment. Unglamorous, forgettable, the kind of work that keeps the lights on and nothing else. Then, 1914. Every portable drill on the market needs 2 hands and a separate switch you have to fumble for. It's clumsy. It's dangerous. Black & Decker are staring at that problem, and somebody reaches for a Colt .45. Think about what a pistol does well. One hand. Instant control. A trigger your finger finds without looking. They take that grip, that trigger, and they weld the idea onto an electric motor. In 1917, the patent is granted. Number 1,245,860. It's quietly one of the most important shapes in industrial history, because it was never really about drilling. It was about who gets to hold power in their hand at all. From there, it moves fast. A plant in Towson, Maryland. $1 million in sales by 1919. By 1929, right on the edge of the Great Depression, they do something almost reckless. They buy a 6-passenger monoplane, paint it with their own logo, fit the cabin with a mahogany workbench, and fly it from airfield to airfield so aircraft mechanics can climb aboard and test drive their tools mid-flight tour. It's part sales pitch, part magic trick. It works. After World War II, Black & Decker looks at millions of soldiers coming home and buying their first houses and builds them a lightweight drill they can actually afford. That's the birth of the Saturday morning in the garage version of America. By 1971, the same design lineage is on the moon. Astronauts on Apollo 15 use a Black & Decker drill to pull core samples out of lunar rock in a vacuum, in near-zero gravity. Not bad for a company that started out capping milk bottles. Now think about that for a second. The same grip that started as a workaround in a struggling machine shop ended up on another world. But this is where the story gets complicated. In 1975, the last Decker steps down as chairman. 65 years of family control? Over. What follows is decades of acquisitions. DeWalt, Emhart, GE's appliance division, Craftsman, building a giant. And quietly, manufacturing starts moving overseas, mostly to China. It's cheaper. It's standard practice. Almost nobody outside the company is paying attention. Until February 2025. The U.S. government announces sweeping new tariffs on Chinese imports, and Stanley Black & Decker is exposed. Somewhere between $900 million and $1 billion of the parts inside their tools are coming straight out of China. That's not a rounding error. That's the kind of number that eventually shows up on a price tag. Maybe your price tag, next time you buy a drill. CEO Donald Allen Jr. doesn't panic. They'd survived tariff wars before, during the first Trump administration. They call it muscle memory. Prices go up, inventory gets stockpiled, and quietly, behind the scenes, the company starts moving its entire supply chain away from China as fast as it can. In April 2026, they sell off their aerospace division for $1.8 billion, mostly to pay down debt. Along the way, the global workforce shrinks from over 60,000 people to about 43,000. Real jobs, real families. That's the quiet cost sitting underneath a headline about restructuring. If you were running that company, knowing every dollar you'd saved overseas had just become a liability at home, what would you have done? Keep chasing cheap manufacturing or pay more to bring it back? Stanley Black & Decker chose to come home. On August 12, 2026, they announce a $1 billion investment in American manufacturing. New plants, new skilled trades jobs, a direct bet that the next decade belongs to companies that don't depend on the other side of the world to build what they sell. For a lot of viewers, that's not just corporate strategy. That's the welding class down the road suddenly worth taking. That's a factory town getting a payroll back. Whether you ever pick up a drill again or not, decisions like this are quietly redrawing where the next generation of stable, well-paid work actually lives. It's strange when you sit with it. A company that started with 2 men and $1,200, betting everything on one small shop in Baltimore, spent a century going further and further from home, chasing scale, chasing cheap labor, chasing growth. And in the end, the thing that saved it wasn't a bigger footprint. It was going back to where it started. The next time you pick up a drill and feel that grip settle into your palm like it was built for a hand, not a machine, remember what it actually was at the beginning. A workaround, a gun pulled out of a drawer, 2 men who hadn't figured anything out yet. If stories like this, the hidden histories sitting behind the objects in your own garage, are the kind of thing you find yourself thinking about after the video ends, consider subscribing. There are more of them.